Today's project is going to expand upon the Laurel Burch Feline project that we did with colored pencil. For today's project, we're going to be using a Sharpie. You need something that's not going to run in water, some mixed media paper or heavy drawing paper. I prefer mixed media paper. It has sizing in it that works well with paint and watercolor. We have colored pencils if you want it for some detailed work. You're going to need Crayola student markers, children markers that run in water, a cup of water, and a paintbrush. We're going to start with a piece of paper. We're going to hold that paper in a portrait format, the tall way. And I'm going to create a cat this time that is a tall cat, a sitting cat. We're going to start with the head, and we're going to do the same shape again. This is a very traditional shape for Laurel Burch cats, which is to start with a large W for the head. We're going to make two pointy ears off the top, and then connect the ears with a rainbow or a curve shape. We're going to make a curve at the bottom of the mouth, a triangle shape for the nose, and then two straight lines coming down from the top of the head. Next, we're going to create the eyes by making a curved line like a rainbow on the top and an inverted one underneath. So I have two eyes. Laurel Burch's eyes on her animals tended to look almost human. So we're going to make the iris and then a pupil. Give it an eyelid. And then I'm going to add a few whiskers on mine. You can make any design that you want on it. Next, we're going to create the body. And this is going to be a cat in a sitting position. So we're going to start at the side of the head near where the eye is. We're going to draw a curved line and come down towards the bottom of the paper. So curve and then straight down. Then we're going to make its tail. We're going to come across the bottom, bring it up and curve. And I'm going to return that curved line and connect it to the side of the body. Then I need to add two front legs, which is going to be a very long extended W. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the head. I'm going to come straight down, curve a little curve, come up about halfway, and then I'm going to make another curve at the bottom and come up. And where I hit the tail, I'm actually going to stop, but you could bring it up further if you like. So there are his two front legs. Now I'm going to make a pattern in the cat, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just want to indicate where you might want to make a pattern. You could make any pattern shape you like. I'm going to add a couple of butterflies. So a circle for the head, a long skinny body, and then I'm going to make two curved lines, and they're similar to how we made the eyes. So it's going to be a rainbow line on either side, and then an inverted rainbow on the edge. And I'm going to actually make a little M's on the ends of each of these to kind of make an interesting butterfly. And you can add a little design inside the wings as long as they're symmetrical. So with line symmetry, what happens on the right needs to repeat on the left. And you can add as many butterflies as you'd like. So just to save some time on this one, I'm not going to get into doing a ton of pattern on this. I'm just going to indicate where the pattern might be. And for a lot of her cats, a lot of her animals, sometimes she'll just use basic geometric shapes inside the bodies for interest. So you could fill it with triangles. My other one, we filled it with flowers, really any shape that you want. So next we're going to take a colored marker and we're going to outline the shape of the cat's body. And I'm outlining the tail, and I'm going to give it a nice thick outline. So I'm using the side of my marker so I get a wide, thick line. And I'm going to go right around. One of the tricks when you are going to use markers, or if you're using watercolor, you want to try to do your larger area first before you start to fill in the details. So I'm going to do the body first. And I want to make this so that the color blends into a second color. So I did a red at the bottom and a yellow at the top, so I can blend these together. And I'm going to start with my water and a little bit of water on my brush, and I tapped it a little bit to get the extra water off. I'm going to wet my paper a little, and then I'm going to start rubbing up against where the marker is so I can blend these two colors together. And make sure that your brush isn't super wet, just a damp brush. And then I'm going to start to blend these together. As the marker gets water on it, it will start to run and it will start to fill in the page. And if the water's been sitting on the marker for where you drew your lines, if it sits for a few minutes, it'll start to spread a little bit easier. And this is just kind of a little trick. If you don't have paints at home, you can do it this way and use the marker. This is kind of a fun way to make your own watercolor. And if you do have watercolors at home, you can use watercolor. You don't have to use this. Or if you have acrylic paints or tempera paints at home, you could paint your cat in with that. I may do another one in paint, but I think most of us have markers or crayons or colored pencils at home while we do our remote learning. So as you can see, I started to blend the yellow in with the red. So next I'm going to work on the kitty's head. And again, this is the next largest space that I have to color in. And I'm going to just outline parts of the head. I'm going to add a little yellow underneath here. And with a little bit of water, this is a smaller space, so I'm going to be careful not to use too much water. It's going to get very wet. And I'm going to pick up some of the paint from some of the color from the marker here. Make sure you tap it so you get that extra. You don't want a blob. Technical art term, you don't want a blob of water, just a tiny bit. All right, so next thing, when you start to go to work with your details, if you have a little pattern or something in the body, I'm going to wait till my paper's dry, and then I'm going to go back in with my marker and color it in. My paper dried pretty quick with this mixed media paper. The heavier paper will dry pretty fast. You can start to color in your pattern then. I'm going to color in the top of my eyes, and I'm going to blend two colors together. So I'm going to do the blue on the eyelid, and then I'm going to use a second color, maybe a little purple, and blend those in together. And if you want to color the entire feline in with just marker and not use the water, you can do that too. I'm just trying to give you a couple of inspirations here as you start to work on your pieces. What might work best for you? So small details, I just use the marker with no water. The larger areas, outline it and add the water and spread it around. And that's it. Here's my other one. The cat worked, but the background got kind of, I put too much water. That's what happened. But the rest of this should dry pretty fast. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. This is another fun little project, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.